Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We are here today to kick off the Amazon QuickSight Fall Learning Series. And today I am joined by two of our QuickSight specialists, Ryan Troutman and Sapna Maheshwari. My name is Jill Florent, and I head up our customer success team at AWS for Amazon QuickSight. Today is a really exciting day for us. We actually are beginning now the first of 3 workshops that are focused on the author experience of using Amazon QuickSight. So just a couple of quick remarks here before I turn it over to our presenters. I did want to focus on, for the next 2.5 hours, we are going to be doing an introduction to QuickSight, where you can begin using the author experience within an enterprise account to build dashboards and learn how to use QuickSight in your own account. We've gotten really good feedback from sessions like this that we've done in the past, but today is extra special because we have new features and new content, and so we'll be taking you kind of right from the beginning to get started with using QuickSight as an author. I will share a number of items of importance in terms of content in our chat window. So the link that you see here on the screen, we will share in just a moment. And we will be answering questions. One of the benefits from attending live is that we'll be trying to answer as many of your questions in the chat as possible. I did just want to flag that within GoToWebinar, which is the tool we're using today, we can answer your questions in the chat, but we will not be saving those nor sharing those after the fact. So I did want to just flag that we do also have a QuickSight community, which is a great place to get questions answered whenever you're using QuickSight. And we'll be adding even more features to that later this year. So we do have a goal to get as many of those questions answered as possible, and we'll be using the questions in the chat. Also flagging that the session today is being recorded, and so we will post this onto our Amazon QuickSight YouTube channel by the end of the week. We've been told that it's very helpful to be able to go back and review some of the activities that we've done together or to share this with colleagues. And so with that, I think that just keeping in mind that we'd love your feedback when we're done today, but I'm going to go ahead now and share the presenter privileges with Ryan Troutman, who is one of our lead QuickSight specialists on the team, and he'll take you through the introductory part of today's workshop. Thank you so much for joining.
Great, thanks, Jill.
Ryan, we're seeing your screen. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Okay,
Perfect.
Take it away, Ryan.
Thanks, Jill. Hey, everyone. My name is Ryan Troutman, and I'm a QuickSight specialist here at AWS. I've been with the company for just over 3 years now, focusing on data and analytics and QuickSight specifically since early 2020. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I'll be providing a brief intro and overview of QuickSight, discussing some of our core components and some recent feature releases. So QuickSight is a fully managed, scalable, ML-powered BI service that is focused on providing insights for everyone, whether that be business users within your organization or delivering insights to your external customers via embedded analytics. QuickSight is now coming up on our 5-year anniversary in the market, and our investment and pace of innovation has never been greater. Here we're looking at some of our core benefits and differentiators in the market, also where we continue to innovate for our customers. So some of our areas of investment. So QuickSight is auto-scaling, which means we are serverless and completely managed to you as the customer. You don't have to worry about provisioning servers, choosing instance sizes, or capacity planning. We manage, maintain, and deploy the servers and software behind the scenes for you to meet your use case and demand. So really, you can start with 10 users, in a POC or a small pilot, then scale to hundreds or thousands within your organization internally. Or if you choose to have an external facing use case, say an embedded dashboard in your customer portal or application, really tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of users as possible. Again, all of this with 0 servers to manage and little administrative overhead on your end. I mentioned our fast pace of innovation and constant stream of new features. One of the benefits of QuickSight managing the service for you is that you'll always be on the newest version of QuickSight, and you'll be able to immediately take advantage of these features as we add them. And just one thing I wanted to note is the majority of these features are driven by customer demand. We're fully integrated with AWS, of course, so you can build your full end-to-end analytics within AWS. Secure private VPC access, centralized IAM permissions with fine-grained access control, CloudTrail logging for audits, and native AWS ML integrations with SageMaker. Aside from the ML integrations with SageMaker, we also include many ML, AI, and search capabilities within QuickSight itself. So as part of our mission to provide insights for everyone, we've invested and continue to invest a tremendous amount in out-of-the-box ML, AI, and search. So QuickSight's ML-powered anomaly detection can analyze your data to uncover anomalies and variations in your data, and it'll give users insights to act on these changes. So all of these features are not requiring previous expertise or knowledge of ML, AI, or search, features or knowledge. They're all able to be added in just a couple of clicks. We also have a forecast, which uses QuickSight's built-in ML algorithms. It learns your data patterns to provide predictions on historical trends. We have ML-powered natural language narratives, which are one of our most popular visual types, and allow authors to describe what's happening in the data in plain text narratives, which dynamically update as your underlying data updates or as filters are applied. So you can think of this as a narrative type sentence, almost a description of what's happening inside of the data. And then lastly, as part of this section, we just launched QuickSight Q, which is our ML-powered search, which allows anyone in the organization to ask business questions using natural language and receive a highly accurate answer in a matter of seconds. So you can think of it as a search bar within your application. This could be an internal use case or even embedded into your customer-facing app. To continue on the embedding theme, you can embed rich interactive analytics capabilities directly into your application, either internally or externally facing, and benefit from the same ML, AI, and search that I just mentioned. So these dashboards can be read-only dashboards where customers can filter and interact with the dashboards, or you can even embed the authoring console to allow more advanced users to create their own dashboards from their data or your data. Thousands of companies are embedding QuickSight today to create product differentiation, product stickiness, new revenue streams through monetizing dashboard access. Lastly, QuickSight's usage-based pricing for readers enables you to provide a license for every employee within your organization or embed at large scale. Part of our core principle when we launched QuickSight was providing insights to anyone and everyone, and not having to consider who gets a license and who doesn't based on some exorbitant licensing fees. So we set out from the beginning to make it affordable, and we're continuing with that through the now we're coming on 5 years of the product. Just wanted to briefly show QuickSight Q in action. So as I mentioned, this is something that we just recently launched, was announced at last reInvent, and is an incredibly exciting and innovative feature that QuickSight has launched. So the idea of QuickSight Q is to provide insights on demand and make your data more accessible. We see this as a game changer of giving your users and customers the ability to ask questions on demand. So as an author, you no longer have to think of every single question a user may ask when you're designing your dashboards. And as a reader, you no longer have to wait days or potentially weeks to get through requests of a particular visual type or data point that they're looking for. So as an author, your job is mainly to be curating and maintaining topics, which are created from your data sets. So here you see a topic called worldwide revenue. Essentially, as an author, you'll have a management console to be able to, define your user-friendly fields. You'll be able to add synonyms, and then QuickSight's machine learning will continue to analyze and view how your users are asking questions to become smarter and smarter. If you're interested in QuickSight Q, we do have an upcoming webinar in November that you guys should attend. I don't believe there's a date posted yet, but stay tuned, and really looking forward to seeing you there. Just wanted to show a couple of other new features which I think are extremely beneficial and exciting. So really excited to show our recently launched Freeform Layouts option. Freeform Layouts allows authors to design pixel-perfect dashboards, which opens up a range of creative possibilities. This mode allows visuals to be placed anywhere, including overlapping other visuals, setting transparency, removing borders, even disabling interactivity, which allows, and basically this feature also was launched with the ability to have conditional rendering, which can show or hide visuals based on parameter selections by the reader. So really, really exciting. As you can see with this inflammation rates dashboard here, looks a little bit different than your typical BI dashboard. In this case, we've taken a silhouette of a human, appears to be the anatomy, and have overlaid it with a scatter plot. Really just lets you have some creativity and design a dashboard that is more user-friendly and maybe something they're more used to seeing in like an application. So just, a couple of more examples here. We have a purchase order, which has really, allowed us to get more of that pixel perfect design, as well as some other examples here. Really unique, fun example on the right. Same thing with the bottom. This actually is a really cool conditional rendering in action. Of course, not interactive here, but as I would click these various buttons, new options would appear, and then the theater seat availability would then show. I'm really excited that you've chosen to join us for today's workshop and appreciate your interest in QuickSight. We always get a lot of feedback from people who attend our workshops, and they always say they didn't know that QuickSight can do so much. So I hope that you two are able to find these new features and functionality within the platform. Now I'll pass it over to Sapna, who will be your guide through the workshop. Appreciate your time and looking forward to today.
Thank you, Ryan. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Sapna Maheshwari. I'm the QuickSight Specialist Solutions Architect, and I will be leading the workshop today. I have sent a link to the workshop from where you will download the data file which will be used in this workshop. And today, as part of this workshop, we will be building our very first dashboard. We'll enhance the dashboard and then finally add some interactivity on the dashboard. So over the next 2.5 hours, we will be completing the first 3 modules here in this author workshop. And by the end of this session, you would have created a beautiful dashboard which is interactive and helps you get insights from your raw data. With that said, let's dive right in. You can download the data file right from here. So let's get started that way. Save it to your local. All right. And as one of the prerequisites of this workshop, you required a QuickSight account. So if you're able to navigate to your QuickSight homepage, which should look like this on the datasets tab. And so once you have downloaded a dataset and are on this screen, we can get started. So I'll just give a few moments for everyone to get to the screen and have their data ready to be uploaded. If any of you have any questions, please feel free to put them on the questions chat. All right. So the very first step that you would do when you are on QuickSight is to upload your data file. In this workshop, we will be just uploading a CSV file. So when you click on New Dataset, it will bring you to the screen where you can make a direct connection to any of these data sources present here. Because we have a CSV file right now to work with, we're going to choose the very first option on the left and locate the file that you just saved on your local. And the file starts uploading into Spice. Spice is the internal storage of QuickSight. So you have your CSV file. It gives you a sample of your data with all the columns and a few rows just to sample like a preview to see if everything looks okay. Say next. And let's do edit and preview data. So on this screen, again, you see all the columns available right here in your CSV file, and it gives you again a few rows which are sampled. Now, for this data set, what we have is we're going to build a sales overview dashboard for a retail company, and you can see there is customer information, the ID of the customer, the segment, the various products, and then we have some geographic data about city, region, sub-region, country. We have the order date, order ID, and then of course we have our measures like sales, quantity, discount, and profit, right? So this is a overview of the data set itself. Here on the left, you can choose to exclude certain fields. If you know for sure that you're not going to be using some of the fields, you can choose to exclude them. If you want to exclude certain rows, then you can add a filter and exclude the rows as well. Now let's do save and visualize, and you see your dataset name is the same name that was given on your CSV file right here. If you would like to change, then you could change it here, and then we would say save and visualize. This will take us to our analysis view. This is where you will start building out your analysis, and you see that all the 9,994 rows were imported into Spice. And once you see this message, you are ready to start building your very first visual. So as you can see under visual types, by default, autograph mode is selected. What this means is that when you choose any columns right here, any of your data fields right here, QuickSight will automatically determine what is the best way to visualize those selected fields, and it will give you a chart appropriately. So I'm going to just choose order date. You can use the search feature right here. So instead of scrolling through and figuring out where your order date is, you can just search on this field list. You get your order date, and I want to see my sales by order date, sales by date. All right, so I see my sales by date. Now I can, because the granularity of the data is at the day level, I want to see it at a higher aggregation. The way you would aggregate your date fields in QuickSight is by clicking on the field wells and then choose month. So now I see a monthly trend of my sales data. All right. Next, I want to also add some forecasting capabilities. So I do see my current sales trend, but I want to see what happens in the future. So QuickSight comes with forecasting capabilities. The algorithm which QuickSight uses is called the random cut forest algorithm. So based on your historical data, QuickSight will forecast the points in the future. The way you add forecast in QuickSight is by clicking on this ellipsis button. and saying add forecast. All right, so now I see these orange lines are basically our forecast period, and by default it has forecasted for 14 periods forward. This period basically represents the granularity of your date. If it is 14, if it is a monthly level, it will give you 14 months forward. If this was at a day level, it would give you 14 days forward. You can change this, and if you wanted to say 16 months, then you can do 16, and then here you have the data all the way to April 2023. Now there is something called period backwards, which is like a backcast. This gives you a good overview of to determine or improve your confidence on the forecasting capabilities. Say for example, if I would do 6 periods backwards, so what it would do is it would just take into consideration the data for until July 2021 and then forecast for the periods forward. Now you can see those blue lines are your actual lines, and then your orange line right here is the backcast, and it does look pretty close, which means QuickSight is the random cut forest algorithm has done a good job of forecasting your points in the future. I'm going to remove the period backwards back to 0 and apply. Okay, so with that, our very first visual has been created, and you can resize it a little bit right here. All right, perfect. So once I've done with this, let's move on to our second visual, and this time we are going to choose deliberately what visual type we want this data to be in. So I'm going to say add visual, and I'm going to choose the KPI view. Now I want to do a year-over-year KPI for my sales. So because I want to do a year-over-year, which is the date field, so I'll bring in the order date field. You can see that I am not dragging and dropping the fields into the right compartments. It's automatically placing it depending on the data type and the chart type that I am selecting. It would place it in the right field well. Order date, and I want to compare my sales metric. So then I just click on sales, and it's right here. So what this is doing is it's comparing the last 2 days of my data set, which is December 30 and December 31, and it is telling that my sales was down on December 31st when compared to December 30, and that's shown by your downward arrow and then the negative sign right here. I do not want to see, but I want to see year over year. So this by default shows day over day because the granularity of the data is at the day level. If I want to do it year over year, then I would again go back to my order date field well and say year. All right, so here we see our year over year. So 2021 sales are looking much better than our 2020 sales. And I'm going to resize this as well. And bring it right here. Going to adjust this a little bit more. Perfect. So now you see that I have quite a few decimal places which don't add value to me. So I'm going to change my sales, going to format my sales measure so that it shows no decimal places. I don't care for the pennies right here. So I'm going to go to my sales field list and I will format it right here. But so you can format your measures in 2 places. One is right on the field well, and the other is on the one on the field list and other on the field well. When you format on the field well, then it is applicable, the formatting what you do is applicable only for that particular visual. Whereas when you format it on the field list right here, any place that this sales measure is used will hold that formatting. All right, so because I don't want to see 4 decimal places in any of my visuals, I'm going to go and change this right here. So every time I don't have to make that change in every single visual. So I'm going to change my sales and click on format. And simply I just want to use without any decimal places, right? So I'm going to just keep it at that. So now I have my sales numbers right here. Perfect. So with that, we have completed our second visual. Now, I wanted to show that how QuickSight generates natural language insights for you. So you have an insights tab right here. So click on that on the left, and you see that QuickSight has generated all these insights, and these insights are natural language sentences, and these are all dynamic. So if I have filters applied on my dashboard, then all these values will change. So these are not hard coded, these are dynamic and will change with all your controls that you put on your dashboard. Out of all these insights that are generated, I want to just use 2 of these insights on my dashboard so that my viewers can also see them when I publish this out. So I choose to put in my month over month change. Okay. And you see it is giving me the period over period, and it's saying that it did decrease. My total sales decreased for 2021 from this time, right? So I'm going to make this smaller and bring it right below my KPI chart. Perfect. All right. Now I'm going to bring in one more insight. So again, go back to insight and try to bring in your forecast, total forecast for Feb 2023. So just a plus, we'll bring it in here. Again, we'll resize it and bring it at the bottom. Okay. All right, so we've done with our insights. Now let's do a donut chart. Add a visual, and this time choose it to be a donut chart. I want to see the sales by industry. I've seen the sales year over year. I've seen the forecasted sales. I've seen my sales by my time dimension. Now I want to see sales by industry. So let's bring in industry. Again, just click on industry. It will automatically place it in the field well and sales. There you go. It's generated my sales by industry. Now, I'd like to add a drill down to my donut chart so that I can see the sales by customer as well. So I'll search for customer. All right, I got customer. Now I need to drag and drop it into my field wells very carefully, because if you just drag and drop, you might just end up replacing industry by customer. That's not what I want to do. I want to add a drill down layer. So hold here until you see add drill down layer and then release your mouse. Now you see that if you go to customer, you can drill down to customer level. If you click on industry, again it drills up. You can also do drill down, drill up by clicking here on the right, drill up, drill down. Another way you could drill down is by clicking right on the donut slices and say drill down to customer, and then drill up to industry. So a left click drill down and drilled up also works. So various ways to navigate from industry to customer. All right, now I do see a total number here, but I also wanted to see the exact number for each of these industries. So I want to add a label also. So to do that, click on the gear icon right here and go to your data labels on the left, data labels, and say show metric, because you want to show the value of this particular metric, which is sales. And say show metric. And there you see your numbers are right here. Now it's too much of ink on the dashboard. I want to show exactly what I want to show. I don't want to clutter my dashboard with too much of information. So I'm going to not put in the percentages. That really does not add a lot of value for me. Again, it depends on the use case, what you want to put. But for me, I will just put the value and I don't want the metric. So I just chose the metric label style as value only. And there I have my donut chart showing sales by industry, which can be drilled down to customer as well. All right. Next, let's create another visual, which is a pivot table. So again, we would go to the top left, say add visual, and this time it's a pivot table right here. Now, as you can see, pivot table, you could put in dimensions in rows and columns, and then the measures in values shelf. So we'll choose to put sales in our value shelf. So we get sales, it gets into automatically placed here. You want to show sales by region and sub-region. So we put in region and we also put in sub-region. All right. Now, the pivot table accepts dimensions in rows and columns. I'd like to see sales by region and by date, and I want the date to be in the columns. So this is the time when you will have to drag and drop it in the columns field well. All right. And now, again, because the granularity of the data is at the day level, I like to aggregate it to the year level. So now I have my good looking pivot table, which shows me the region, sub-region, and then the dates laid out. Now you see that you just have one measure right here. Say, for example, you had another measure, then writing this sales, this word sales here makes sense if you have a lot of metrics right here in your value shelf. Because I just have a single metric, again, going back to the concept of not having too much of ink on my dashboard, I'm going to eliminate this word, repetitive sales word. So that is done by going into the format visual menu and then say column names. Sorry, that would be under styling. So you would go under styling and say hide single metric. So that the word sales has disappeared. So again, the sales word will disappear if you say hide single metric. And then I also want to hide the column field names. Again, it's only just one column right here and it is showing by the date. It's very evident that these are the dates. So I'm going to hide the column field name as well. So now you have a compact table, so you can have more on your dashboard if you eliminate the non-value added stuff. All right. So I'd also like to see some subtotals here for every region. So I'll click on the ellipsis icon right here and say subtotals for rows. Now I have subtotals available right here. Okay, so I'm going to expand this again because I do not like the scroll bar. And here we go with our dashboard analysis so far. Okay, now let's add a filter to this. So say for example, you wanted to see for a particular segment, you want to see all these numbers, all these charts for a particular segment, then you can use a filter for the dashboard to filter the segment of your liking. So I'm going to look for the, I'm going to actually go to the filters tab right here, and I'm going to create a filter and say segment. Remember that your cursor, your control needs to be on any one of the visual for this to become active, because you can apply filters at a visual level or the data set level. So you need to have that control so that the filter that is being created has some context of where it needs to be applied. So you select a particular, it can be any of this, because ultimately this filter is going to filter every visual on this data set. So I'm going to just say that when I click on that filter, you will see an option which says a filter only on this view, this visual. I want to, on all applicable visuals of this data set, I want this filter to apply. So now everything will change if I change the filter right here and click apply, close. So now you have a filter which is applied to all the visuals. And let's add, now this filter is only available to you as an author because it has not been added to the sheet. If you want your end users, your readers to interact with this filter, you will need to put this filter on the sheet. And the way you do that is by clicking on this ellipsis icon right here by the filter and say add to sheet. Now it gets added to the bottom of the sheet. Generally filters are placed on the top or on the right of the dashboard. So I'm going to say pin to top. So it automatically gets pinned right here on the top. Okay. So I'm going to give a few moments here for everyone to catch up. Okay. So now this is looking good so far. I'm going to do some slight aesthetic changes right here in terms of correcting the titles and then adding a dashboard title. And I think my dashboard is ready to be published, and it's looking good for a first dashboard created in QuickSight. So let's just give those final touches before we publish this out. The way you add a title to your dashboard in QuickSight is by clicking on the plus add button right here, and you would add a title and give it a name of your liking. I'm going to call it Sales Overview Dashboard. Okay, and I'm going to give the name right here as Monthly Trend and Forecast. And here I'm going to call it year over year sales. Make sure to hit enter after you type so it takes effect. These are looking good. I'm going to change this to say sales by industry. So also I want to let my end users know that there is a drill down here. So I'm going to say drill to customer or drill down to customer is also available on this one, just so that my end users know that there is a drill down available. And then finally, these are just regional level details. So I'm going to give it a simple name, regional details. Okay, so here we have it. Don't worry if you don't have these exact names. It could be anything which you like. So the idea is to have a good title for each of your visuals and then a title overall on the dashboard. And now we are going to be publishing our very first dashboard. Share. And then
we have a couple of questions. I wonder if you can just go through one more time a bit more about how you drill down and how you drag the controls. Maybe we do that before we go to publishing.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. So here we have our filter created. You click on the three dots right here on the horizontal ellipses, and then you would say add control. I already have control, so I'm going to remove the control from my sheet and show you once again. So click on the three dots right here and say add to sheet. So now this is added to the sheet. And you can again click on the three dots or ellipses icon and say pin to top. So there you have it, it's pin to top. Now you can, if you choose different options here, you see all your visuals getting updated to show only enterprise and SMB. And if you want everything to load by default, then select all. And now everything is selected. Drill down and drill up. So if I remove my customer from there, I would go back to visualize and I would say customer. While this particular donut chart is selected, look for customer and expand your field wells by clicking here and then drag and drop. Sorry, the customer is already there, so we need to actually add industry. Either way works. So click on industry and then hover over it until you see that drill down layer. And now you can drill down either by using this control right here. As an author, you are able to click right here also and see, but this will not be available for your readers. Only authors can get to the field wells, but your readers will be able to interact. And then you can also drill down from here. And there you have it.
Thanks, super helpful.
Sure. So now reset to the industry level and you'll be able to now let's start publishing our dashboard. And we'll give it a name, sales overview. And at the time of publishing, you have various options right here. If you do not want your end users to start getting downloads of the data behind your visuals, then you can uncheck this option. If you do not want them to drill up and drill down, you can uncheck those options. And if you do not want them to add filter controls, so for example, here you have already added a control for segment, but if you want to leave it open for your end users to add more dimensions like industry or region, sub-region, right? So they can do that if you allow them to add controls on this. And that will be by enable ad hoc filtering. So that will allow them to do more filtering and add more dimensions as filters if you choose this for them, right? So you can open up the dashboard or lock it down as much as you want with all these granular permissions and options available here at the time of publishing the dashboard. And then you say publish dashboard. And here, the moment you publish the dashboard, remember in QuickSight, unless you as the author have the full control over the assets that you create, any dashboard analysis, data sets, data sources that you create are only visible to you by default, unless and until you share them out with other folks. So right now, because you have published the dashboard, obviously your aim is to be able to share it with other people so they can use it. So that's why by default, the moment you publish, you will see the screen appear where you will have the option of adding individual people right here. You can look up for those people who you want to share it with, or if you choose to share it with everybody on this account, then we have a one-click option for you, and just say, yes, I'd like to share this dashboard with everybody on this account. And then there is also an option for save as, which basically means that if some of your readers, some of the viewers of your dashboard are configured as authors on your QuickSight account, then they can get to the underlying analysis and they can reverse engineer from there, or they can add more visuals to it, they can correct it and such. So for that, you have a save as option. When you check the save as option, the other authors on your account are able to create a copy of the analysis from your dashboard and build on top of it. So that's the reason you have the save as option. And then you would just so now here you see your dashboard view, and in the dashboard view you are able to drill down to customer. You're able to, all your date fields will automatically have this drill up and drill down. You don't need to configure that. So you can drill up to quarter level, and yeah, so you can't do that. So say undo, because then if you drill down to the year level, then you just have about 4 data points, and those are not enough to do a forecast. So you need at least 14 data points to be able to forecast, depending on the granularity of your data. So now I'm going to drill down to month level. And there I have it. So this is my first dashboard. So time to move on to so we've built a first dashboard. Now we're going to enhance our dashboard, which means from here, we have to take it up a notch and make it, apply some nice themes to it and make it good looking, adjust these visuals and add more. So in the same space that you have here, you have added at least 4 more visuals right here, as you can see, and it still looks very compact and clean, and you have more insights in the same real estate you have, right? So let's get going with enhancing our dashboard. Get back to your dashboard right here. Now you can save as, like I said, because the save as button was checked, you have the capability of saving as. Even otherwise, because you are the author, you'll always see the save as button of this, and you can give it a new name. Maybe you can call it module 2 and then save it. So when you save as something, it gets saved as an analysis right here. So now it's time to apply some nice coloring on this dashboard. So far it looks very plain Jane, more like black and white. So I'm going to choose my theme here. So you can go to themes right here, and you see it's a classic theme that is applied, but say I want no borders around it. I want some better colors instead of this light blue. I want to see a color of my choice, which more matches to my company's branding. So you can Right now, by default, a starter theme called Classic is applied to your dashboard. Click on the ellipsis icon and say Save As. What you are doing when you say Save As is you are using the Classic as your base, and you're going to increment it, add some more some more fonts, and change the colors and such, and make it your own theme. So you can call it as your personalized theme, or whatever you choose to call. Okay, and then you can change your primary background. If you like a darker background, then you can change that, and then it will look like this. I am okay with my white background, so I'm going to just choose my white. So you see that it's not that white, it was all #FFF. So I'm going to, because that's not available as an option here, I can go to custom color and then just, so now I like this white color. This is the exact white that I wanted. So I have changed my primary background. If you don't like the Ember font, you can change it to any other font that you like. Feel free to explore the other options and see how everything changes based on any other colors that you do, so you know what to change to get to that desired theme of your liking. So this is with the main editor. Now you can also choose the colors that your dashboard picks up. As you can see, initially I have these dimensions right here, right? So I have so many values for my industry dimension, and these colors are picked right in the order that are placed right here. Now if I switch something here, you can see the very first one will get this color. Instead of that light blue color, now you see your date line trend right here also changed the color. So just feel free to move around stuff. And if you're looking for this exact color, then the code is #33AEB1. So that's your hex code for that. Or you can use, if you know the RGB values of your company's branding, then you can use that. All right. And so that's with your data. And layout, I don't like the borders, like borderless. So I'm just going to just see the difference. The borders around every visual, I'm going to uncheck that. So now there are no more borders. And now I think I'm liking the way this theme looks. So I'm going to save this theme. Now what you did is created a theme, but that theme has not been applied to this dashboard yet. So this dashboard still has the classic theme. So I'm going to choose my personalized theme, which I just created. And now the theme has been applied to my dashboard. I can see that color, I can see the borderless visuals, and I changed my font as well. So that's the very first change that we did towards a step of enhancing our dashboard. So I'm going to give a couple minutes here for you to play around more with the themes if you want to. All right. So with that done, let's go ahead and do more formatting changes. So as you know that the sales, this is a sales number, which means it is a currency, right? So we'll just go ahead and initially we did formatting of this number to remove the decimal places. Now I would also like to append it with a dollar sign, or prefix it with a dollar sign, because it is in dollars, my currency. So I'm going to go to my sales and say show as currency. Instead of showing as a number, I want to show it as currency. So when you click on that sales options right here, you can say show as currency. So now you see that everywhere where the sales is used, you will see a currency right here. Say you don't want to show it as a currency right here. So click on your pivot table, go here and format it as a number, show as number. So now you see that even though the same field has been used, at the visual level, what you set, that overrides, and anything that you did here on the field list is the default formatting of that. Okay, so that's done. And I want to, since we are at the topic of formatting our measures, let's go ahead and also format our discount to show as percentage. We are going to be using discount shortly. We have not used it so far, but we will use it eventually. So we'll just call this as percentage. Whenever I use discount, make sure that you show it as a percentage and not as a number. All right, so we've done that as well. Now, time to add one more visual, which is very cool looking, which is a Sankey visual. So I'm going to say add a visual, and this time it's going to be Sankey. Now Sankey requires a source and a dimension, right, and a measure. So we'll choose the region as our source and segment as our dimensions. Okay, and I want to track how much sales is happening between a region and the SM and the segment, right? So I will bring in sales. Okay, so here you see that the maximum sales is happening in the EMEA region and in the SMB segment, and within the EMEA region, you can see that the maximum sales is SMB is contributing to the maximum sales, followed by strategic, followed by enterprise. So you see multiple comparisons happening within the Sankey chart because you've used two dimensions and one metric here. You can see all those comparisons, and the width of these paths, if you will, from the source to destination gives you an idea of the quantity as well. Okay, after the Sankey map is created, Sankey chart is created, we will create a map visual. So add another visual, and this time choose it to be a points on map. This requires you to bring a geospatial field or a latitude longitude field if you have in your data set. Right now I do have country, so I'm just going to use country. And you see that every entry of the country that is there in your data set, a point is marked. They are indicated as a point on the map of the country. Now say you want to size these dots by the sales. So countries which are experiencing greater sales, show me with bigger circles, and the countries with smaller sales, small circles. So that means I have to place a measure in the size, which is my sales. So I'm going to bring sales. Now we can see clearly this insight is pointing that we do have larger sales coming from the United States and the United Kingdom, and Japan, and everything else is smaller. So you get some insights right here very quickly. And I'm going to rename this title as just sales by country. So I get that, sales by country. Now, we also introduced tooltips very recently within this year. So we'll go over tooltips. So by default, you have the tooltips show what is placed on your field wells, in this case country and sales. But say you want to add more details here, so we will do detailed tooltips now. So again, click on the format visual or the gear icon right here, and then go to tooltips. And you see that these two are added by default. You want to add one more. And the field that I want to add is basically the contact name. Right, so I want to know that how many customers are there in each region. So I'm going to give it a name, a label as number of customers. Okay, and then I'm going to count distinct of the number of customers in region. So because your data set has multiple orders from the same customer, you don't want to double count them, you just want a distinct count. So you will say number of customers and count distinct and save. And here you see, now you will see number of customers 577. So 577 customers are contributing towards your 457,000 worth of sales. Say you see United States is appearing as a header, if you will. If you do not want that as an header, then you can say that use primary value as title, and now that also will appear as your country there. So feel free to play around with the various options available to see and adjust the various visuals to your liking. Right, so we'll give a name to our sheet 1 as well. We will call it the summary sheet. Okay, which means now we are going to be creating another sheet and call it details. Now details are mostly available in a table format, so we'll make it a table visual. And in the table visual, we are going to bring a ton of fields because these are the details, right? So if you want to see all the details about a particular order, then you can bring in your order ID. You can bring the date on which the order was placed. And then you can bring in the contact name, the person basically who placed the order, and which customer was it within that contact. So that contact was, so for one customer there are multiple contact names, so you can bring in the customer name as well. Then we want to know which industry does that customer belong to. We also want to know which product was ordered as part of that order ID. And finally, which country was the order made from? Okay, so don't worry if you do not have all these fields or if you have extra or less. The idea is just to get the experience of creating a table visual in QuickSight. So these are the various dimensions. Now I want to see numbers. So I want to see how much discount was given in these orders. And I want to see how much sales or revenue happened. All right, there you go. Now let's sort. I always like to see bigger numbers, bigger sales numbers, right? First, so let's sort this table by the sales descending. You can click right on the table and then you can say sales sort by descending, or you can click on the field wells and say sort by descending. So now you have this table right here. Now, discount. As you can see, by default, discount has been aggregated in the sum function as a sum, but I want to just see average discount across the orders. So I'm going to change the aggregation from sum to average. So now you see that average value reflecting here. And I'd also like my readers to know that this is actually average discount. So I will go ahead and change the heading of this column to show average discount instead of just the word discount. Click on the gear icon. And what am I wanting to change? I'm wanting to change the value column name because discount is in the value column. So go to value column name and then change this to average discount. And there you see, you call it average discount here. Okay. Also, I don't like this big title. I'm just going to call it order details. Remember, this exercise is about enhancing your dashboard. So we need to make sure that we choose all the titles and colors very purposefully. All right. Now, the only concern with using the details table is that there is a lot of text. This is no different than an Excel, but sometimes you need to create tables for reporting purposes or to get all the details. But that doesn't prevent us from, again, getting to insights faster. We do have conditional formatting. If you want certain rows to stand out to your end users and they don't have to scroll through this sorted list of sales, then you can do conditional formatting, which will help you to change the background color of the entire row or a particular column. You can add some icons, or you can just change the text color. So there are various options within tables and pivot tables in QuickSight, which will help you help your end users get insights faster. So let's see an example of how conditional formatting can be done on tables. Click on the horizontal ellipsis icon and say conditional formatting. Now, what I want to do with this table is, if any time order was given more than a 50% of average discount, then show it in red. If it was given 20% or more, then yellow. And if it was less than 20%, then I'm cool with it. So either I can do it green or I can just leave it blank. It again depends on purposeful use of colors. I don't like to use a lot of colors on my dashboard. So I'm not going to worry about less than 20% because I'm assuming at this point that less than 20% is okay discount to give. But I just want my 50% and 20% and above discounts to stand out to me, to make sure that everything is okay, or if that discount was given for that particular customer was right and such, right? So that's my aim. With that aim, I'm going to now select a column. Obviously, discount is the driver column right now for me to decide whether a row gets highlighted or not. So I'm going to select average discount and I'm going to change the background color. So I'm going to say add the background color if my average discount is greater than or equal to 50%, which is nothing but 0.5. Then make it red color. I do not like to use RGB colors. These are primary colors, and there are many colorblind people than we can imagine. So we want to make sure that our end users are able to, our readers are able to distinguish between red and green, because colorblind people cannot. So we want to stay clear from using red, green, and blue. Instead of that red, maybe use orange or maroon. So I'm going to use orange for greater than or equal to 0.5. Then we're going to use light yellow if it is greater than or equal to 20%, right? So you can choose any colors of your liking. And then if you choose, you can add another condition and say if it is less than or equal to 0.2. Well, let's do less than, not less than or equal to, because less than or equal to, greater than or equal to is already captured here. So let's do just less than 0.2, then green, right? Again, let's use a different shade of green. So you have all this. So you can see there's just too many colors, too many contrast. So I generally don't like to do that. I'm going to just remove the third condition and just apply this. So now these stand out to me very clearly that these are the rows or orders which have been given more discount than 20%. Now I also want to highlight those orders which were placed within this current year, which is 2021, right? So if discounts were given historically, that was okay. But if discounts are given in the recent times, then I want, those are more important to me than the rest of the oranges and yellows. So I'm going to highlight the entire row this time for orders which were greater than, which were placed in the year 2021. So to do that, so this has been done already, right? We have one condition. Now we're going to add one more condition, and this time it's going to be not on a column, but the entire row. Okay, and in the entire row, I'm going to add a background color, and that color will be driven off of the field order date. And if that order date is after my January 1st date, so January 1st, 2021, click on that and click apply. And choose the color, say light blue. There you have it. Anytime an order was placed in 2021. So basically this is the only line of interest to me right now. All right. So you can quickly scan through your data and get to those exact rows which you need to take action on if you format it this way. All right. Okay. I know I changed the discount name. I can also change the contact name to contact, or anything else you want to change, you can change. Again, that is done by, the last time I changed it by the value columns name, but if you want to change anything in the group by also, you can change that by going to group by column names, and instead of calling it contact name, just say contact. So this will get updated to contact instead of contact name. All right, let's go back to the summary sheet. And now I want to introduce the new concept, the new feature that was released, which is freeform layout, right? With freeform layout, you can overlay visuals on top of each other, and some of the visuals, cool looking dashboards that were shown in the beginning of this session by Ryan, you would have noticed how you can have background images, and then you can have bar charts on top of it, or you can just have insights on top of a line chart and such. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, and you can get as creative with your dashboards. So we'll play around with that feature, so you get some practice and then get some ideas going from there. So click on freeform and make sure to hit apply. So now what happens is you will see these grid lines behind here the moment you make it to freeform. And this gives you like a good context to understand where to place each visual so that they are aligned very nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my forecast right on top of this visual right here. And when I place it on top, just drag and drop. I don't really need the header, so I'm going to click on the gear icon and say, don't show me this header. And going to make this small, and maybe I don't need this title as well, so I'm going to remove the title for this particular visual, and just by unchecking that. And then these grid lines are also not adding a lot of value, so you would click on the y-axis under your format visual, click on y-axis and scroll down a bit, and here you would see show grid lines. Under your y-axis, show grid lines, uncheck that. So now you have a clean looking line chart with no clutter, if you will. And then you can make it look like this. Total sales is forecasted to be 32,000 for Feb 2023. I can also bring this period over period right here. So let's drag and place it right here. Again, adjust it. Okay. Now you see that this this visual is having a background, and that's why it's hiding the peak of this particular line chart. We don't want to do that. That's the last thing we want to do. So I can make this background transparent. Click on the gear icon right here and go to style. Style under your format visuals and turn off the background color. So now this becomes transparent, and there you see your peak is back. Okay, I'll do the same thing with this. Let's remove the title for even this one. And now you have two insights right overlaid on top of your dashboard. Now, I don't need this exact number right here. It's enough for me to show that it decreased by 19.45%, right? I don't want this exact subtraction of these two numbers. So I will customize this insight by clicking on the three dots here, say customize narrative. This will bring you back here, and you see this value is coming from this particular calculation right here. It's doing the absolute difference of those two values. So all I need to do is click on it and just hit the delete. I also, and you will see immediately this is getting updated, because although you deleted the metric, the brackets were not deleted, so it's still there. Just very carefully hit your backspace twice, and there you go. Say save, and here you have it. Total sales decreased by 2021. All right, so now we have it. This looks good. Now, obviously, more space is created here. I need it to look good. So as you can see, your segment is right here, but sometimes it's not very visible to your end users or your readers. To make it more intuitive, let's try to bring that segment filter on the dashboard itself instead of having it pinned on the top here. So click on that and say move to sheet. It's brought to the bottom. So just drag and take it all the way up. Place it right here and move this to the bottom. Okay. We can also add two more filters right here. Let's add a region filter and a sub-region filter. So remember, when you go to filters, you will not see a plus sign unless you select a visual. So select any visual and then you will see a plus sign here. Then you add a region. And again, clicking on it, you can say apply to all visuals of this data set or all applicable visuals, and then say add to sheet. So you've added your region also on the sheet. Do the same thing. You have your region filter here. Adjust it a little so there is enough space for your sub-region filter as well. Let's add our sub-region filter. Again, make sure it's applicable to all visuals. Apply, close. The same step, add to sheet, bring it to the top. All right. So now I want to make sure that, see, I have lot of subregions, but say when I select say Americas, my subregion should not show me Europe and India and Japan subregions, right? I just want it to be relevant filtering or cascading controls. So to do that, you can edit this filter, or rather edit it from the control right here. When you click on the gear icon on the control here, you will see an option, hide select all option from the control values, and you will see show relevant values only. So when you click on show, because you just want the subregion to show only the relevant values, and this should be relevant in terms of your region because that's where the hierarchy is. There is no relationship between the segment and the subregion. So just select region. So show me, depending on what you select in region, only show those relevant subregions. Update. Apply. Now when you click on Americas, you only see Latin America and North America as your subregion. So that's how you do relevant filtering in QuickSight. So now let's do all right here. And you have your dashboard created. Make sure everything is aligned. All right, looking good. We'll take a quick 10-minute break and reconvene in 10 minutes. So the time is 9:55 PST. We will all meet back at 10:05 PST. Thank you.
Thanks, Sapna. During the break would be a great time for you to add any additional questions to our chat window. We're doing our best to keep up with those questions and certainly would love to make sure that we're staying on top of these. As a reminder, we are recording the session today as well. We have had a couple of comments, oh, can you go back over something or slow down? And I know that we do have a lot of content to cover. We'll do our best to keep it at a pace that's comfortable for everyone, but just did want to call out that we will be sending the recording to our Amazon QuickSight YouTube channel by the end of the week. And so thanks. Keep those questions coming. Bye-bye. We'll resume in 10 minutes. Sapna, are you close to ready, or do we need a couple more minutes?
We're ready. Yes.
You know, I did have one question that might be helpful for you just to quickly review, to just go through the steps again between the kind of summary and detail. Maybe you could kind of review in general what approach you were taking on that particular issue. I know that we kind of went through some things quickly.
Yes, sure. We have not linked the summary and details yet. We will be doing it in the last section of this exercise of this workshop. So
Perfect.
I'll be able to show that. And yes, I did see the question where they were wanting to know what happens when you want to filter across sheets. So we will do a quick exercise to showcase that as well.
Wonderful. Okay, great. I think that was the only lingering question. Thanks everyone for chiming in. We've probably got more than 50 questions or so that have come in. So really love to see the folks following along and trying to make sure that we get as much covered as possible. So with that, we'll turn it over to you, Sapna.
Sure, thanks, Jill. All right, so we left off this session before the break with an enhanced dashboard. As you can see, after creating our first dashboard, we were able to apply themes to this dashboard. We did a lot of formatting with the numbers. We changed quite a bit of the names of the columns in this table. We enhanced this table with conditional formatting so we can get to insights faster. We were able to change it from a tiled or a fixed layout to a freeform layout. So we were able to get to a lot more visuals within that limited space that we had. We were able to bring in more filters and we did some interactivity. And now our dashboard is looking good. It's really enhanced. And we are ready to share this out as well. So share, publish dashboard, and you can call it module 2 or enhanced dashboard, and publish it. Now, once your dashboard is created, I wanted to show that you can also schedule an email report. So if you do not want your end users to get to the QuickSight portal deliberately, every morning there can be an email triggered so that they can just see it in their inbox. And if they require to do more drill down and getting more questions, then they can come to this dashboard. So when an email report is sent out by QuickSight automatically, you will see that there will be a link to get to the dashboard. So if they choose to do so, they can. Otherwise, they can just look at those numbers right within their email and get done with there, right? So to do that, as an author, you can schedule an email report out of your dashboard, and you can say share email report. And here you can set the schedule, whether you want it to be on a daily basis, weekly or monthly basis. And then when do you want that report to start, that schedule to start from? And you can also exactly mention the time and the time zone. So for example, if you know that your ETL job completes or your new data comes in at a particular time of the day, then you can schedule your email report accordingly. So with the fresh data, an email can be triggered out. And then you can say what title you want, what is the subject line. And then here you can actually include the PDF attachment. So I want to now have the summary sheet included as a PDF attachment. And then I can say whether I want that layout to be optimized for a desktop view or a mobile view. And then I can select the recipients who I need to send this email out to. If you want to send it to everybody who has access to this dashboard, then you have this button right here, and you can say save report. For this workshop, let's just see a test report, and it will start sending a report. Now you can save this report. Now say, because I had that checkbox created, checkbox selected to send it to everybody who has access to that dashboard, you will see a schedule created right here which says reports. Now say your end users don't want to see that report any longer, then they can very well get here and say unsubscribe, so they won't be receiving that email any longer. That's how you would schedule reports. Apart from daily email reports, you can also schedule threshold alerts. Basically, threshold alerts are available right now for your KPI charts and for your gauge visuals. So with the KPI chart, every reader can schedule a threshold alert, and they can choose what is the threshold value that they need to set an alert for. So you could click on the bell icon right here on the visual, and you can say create alert. Before that, I just want to say alerts right here. And you can see I don't have any alerts scheduled so far, but it is kind of a quick tutorial for you to see how an alert can be created on KPI and gauge charts. So we'll click on the plus bell icon right here, and we will say that create an alert and send me an email notification. And whenever my difference value, it's right now the difference is 125,000. So whenever my difference value is above, say 100,000, then you send me an alert. If I don't care about the difference, I really want to know if my current value of my current year sales is more than a particular number, then you send me a threshold alert, right? And then say for multiple times a day, it keeps changing, right? If your refresh is happening that many times a day, then you can just say, I don't want it every time it changes. I just want daily at the most or weekly at the most. And after you set that alert, you can say save. And now every time your data set is refreshed, or your spice gets refreshed, you will see an email if it breaches that threshold value. So basically you will have email alerts and you have threshold alerts. Apart from that, you can also schedule anomaly detection alerts. So these are the 3 different types of emails that you can receive from QuickSight. This helps you and your teams not to invest time and energy into monitoring your data. QuickSight does that for you. So you can just be intimated when there is an action required from your side or your team. All right, so now we've created a beautiful dashboard, and coming back to the question what Jill brought up is to be able to, right now you see summary and then you see details. There is no talking between the two, right? To complete the picture, it would be nice that I'm able to get to the detail sheet of certain items which are of interest to me. Say for example, I do see that a lot of sales is happening in the United Kingdoms, or if I see a very less sale happening, for example, in my New Zealand region, and I want to know what are the customers there and such. So if I just want to see the New Zealand customers details, I cannot do that here. One, I don't have any filters here. Two, I don't have any navigation action or some filter action basically to just condense that row table set to only New Zealand customers. So there was a question on the chat which said that whether your filters here apply on your next sheet. No, they do not apply. You will have to create parameters so that anytime you want 2 sheets talking, right, or 2 visuals talking to each other, you need to create actions or parameters, and then pass parameters through those actions so that it does not only go from one visual to the other visual, but also pass that exact parameter value that you want to filter by. So we'll see how that is done. So with that, we are coming to our last exercise, which is add interactivity. We did cascading filters already. So we will now do filter actions, URL actions, navigation actions. Alerts, the threshold alerts were already demoed. All right, so let's get started with our filter actions. Again, go ahead and save as a copy, or you can feel free to get back to your original analysis, which was module 2. So we'll do first filter actions. Now, what I want to do is, say for example, I'm interested in what happened in this dip, right? I just want to focus only on this particular dip, and I want to see all my other charts showing me data only about this dip, which happened in, say, February of 2019, right? I want every visual to change and show me details about February 2019, what happened in February 2019. So I will create a filter action. Filter action will apply to some or few visuals within the same sheet. Okay. So having said that, let's, while this is selected, click on actions and say filter same sheet visuals. Now, with just that one click, when I click on any point right here, everything gets changed. Now I'm seeing data only for 2019 of December or November and such, right? So all these are changed only for that particular filter. But you also saw that these forecast and year over year doesn't make sense right now, because year over year was using 2020 and 2021 data, but you filtered out and you just said, just show me December 2019, right? And forecast also requires so many data points. It doesn't work with just 1 month data. So it's good for us to keep those two with separated from the effect of this filter. To do that, click on your action and say edit action, and here you will say the target visual, instead of all visuals, say only selected visuals, and then remove forecast and period over period from the effect of this filter and say save. So now this will not change. This will give you the total sales for December. This will give you the forecast. This is not going to see the action filter effect. Everything else changes. So let's see what happened in February 2019. So the sales were merely 11,000 for February, and these were the various subregions, sales by the various subregions and regions and by industry. Now, it would be nice for me now to see within the finance industry what orders were made, right? So it would be nice if I click on finance, it would take me to the details filter, to the detail sheet, exactly those records of finance in the detail sheet. So to do that, let's do navigation action. Navigation action is used whenever you want to move from one sheet to the other sheet within the same dashboard, right? So filter action, same sheet, everything gets filtered. Navigation action, from one sheet to the other sheet, at the same time filtering on a particular value of a dimension, right? So let's do that. So when you want to pass something from one sheet to the other sheet, remember you need parameters. So let's create a very first parameter which will pass the industry value. So let's get to parameters. Create a parameter, call it industry, and leave everything else as default. Like, don't change anything else on this page. Just give it a name and create. And now this parameter needs to be tied either to a filter or to a calculated field, or it should appear as a control on your dashboard so end users can interact with it, or it can be a custom action. Now when action, this is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to do a navigation action, which is a custom action. So this filter is going to be used in conjunction with a custom action. So say custom action. Now it will take you to the actions screen. So now you have to define what that custom action is going to be. This custom action is going to be a navigation action, and it's going to be activated on select. It's not going to be activated as a menu option. Okay, so basically what it means is, if I choose as a menu option, if I right click on finance and choose deliberately, you have to make that menu action selection for it to take effect. But I just want to just do a left click on finance and it should take me to the details sheet and show me finance records. That's my aim. So I'm going to choose select and I'm going to say choose the navigation action. And where does this navigation action take me to? It takes me to the details sheet. So choose detail sheet. And not only does it take me to the detail sheet, it also carries a parameter along with it. And that parameter is going to be the industry parameter. And it is going to carry with it the industry value from the industry field of my database. So that's what it's going to carry and add. Save. Now when you click on finance, it definitely takes you to the details tab. So navigation action is working perfect. But you see that the industry still shows all the industries. Now, in order to filter any visual, you need to apply a filter to that visual. Right now, as you see, there is no filter applied here. So we will first apply a filter here, and the value of that filter will be determined by the parameter which we created here. All right. So little complex, I will repeat. You first created a navigation action on this navigation action from this sheet to this sheet, and you also sent a parameter along. Now that parameter will need to be tied to a filter on this sheet so that the filtering can actually happen. So for that, we will create a filter. And the filter is going to be created on the industry column, right? So don't show me all the industries, show me only the industry which is coming from the parameter. So only if your filter industry value is equal to the industry parameter, then just show me those records. Apply. And there you see that your industry right now, the parameter that you passed to this navigation action was the finance industry. So now all the records are changed to finance. Apply, close. Get back to summary. Let's try it with manufacturing. Click on manufacturing. It takes you to the next page and shows you only the manufacturing records. All right. So that's how you would do your navigation actions. I'm going to give a minute for people to catch up building that navigation action.
Sapna, do you want to review how you would reset the filter on the Details tab?
So when you are applying a filter right here on the industry, and this is driven by your the parameters on this one. So essentially it will show you only the ones, if you're getting to this page by the navigation action, it will always filter on that. But say you did not want to, if you want to see everything on this, then you will have to navigate it. You can do a reset button right here. Basically go back to your details sheet right here, and come out of this. When you have published this dashboard, right now the finance was selected and it brought you right here. But when you have published this dashboard out, at that time, clicking out of this finance will reset this filter. And then if you go to the detail sheet, you will see everything right here and not only the industry filtered by the navigation action. So right now, if you do a navigation action, it is closely coupled with the parameter, so it will filter it out. But if you want everything in the detail section, then you have to do it without the navigation action, which is by directly getting into the detail section and then seeing everything out here. But make sure to get rid of that filter action right here by clicking outside of it. All right, so let's do our URL actions. So now that you are on your details tab and you do see your only the rows which are of interest to you, let's go to our URL action, which will take you to your customers page in, say, for example, Google or Wikipedia, right? So you can construct the URL for you to go to your Google page and look for your customer or your contact. For example, when I go click on Jennifer Payne, or if I click on the customer name, say Wells Fargo, I want to know more details about Wells Fargo, then I can just do a Google search on that. So for that, again, you would go to actions and you would say define a custom action. And then the action name here would be, say URL action, or you can give it a name like search on Google. Okay, and then you can say, this will again get activated on the select, and then it's going to be a URL action this time. And then you would give the hyperlink for that. So the way you construct a Google search is https google.com/search and then your query. And you're going to be using, you're going to be passing one of your columns of your data of your table. In this case, I just want to Google on the customer to understand more about the customer. So I'm going to pass in the customer as a dynamic value. And I want that URL action to open in a new browser tab. Save and click on, and there you go. It opens up on Google for you. You notice that that there is a new custom visual content right here on our. This is a very new feature, custom visual content. Although it's not a part of the workshop, I'm very excited about this, because this custom visual content along with our freeform layout opens up a lot of possibilities to extend the boundaries of like a regular canned dashboard, right? You can actually embed YouTube videos, you can embed web pages within your dashboard. And so let's try that very quickly. click on add a visual, and here you have custom visual content, and you can say customize visual. Now say for example you want to embed a YouTube video. Say for example we want to embed our QuickSight hello. So you have this URL link right here, and you also, when you click on share, you will have this embed right here. So this is your source code. Just what is available here within your source code is what you will need to embed. If you don't want to copy this entire thing, all you need is youtube.com/embed followed by your YouTube video ID, and that ID is right here, right? So that's all you need to do to be able to embed content within your web page. So customize this visual and just say embed instead of watch. So after youtube.com/the word embed followed by a YouTube ID and apply, you will see that your video is embedded right here. And you can very well play the video inside from inside I'm your application, inside your dashboard. You can also insert web pages. For example, if I wanted to embed Wikipedia page, I can also pass your customer name. So instead of going to Google every time, you can actually bring up the the Wikipedia page for all of your customers. So you can pass that as a parameter, and as you click on the links, it will take you to this particular visual will change and show your web page of all of these customers. So there are a lot of possibilities with your custom visual content, which is right here. All right, so I think we've covered everything that was required as part of the workshop right here. We did URL actions, navigation actions, filter actions. We also did custom visual content right here. Now we'll go ahead and publish this dashboard. Remember, this was already published at the end of our second module, so it will ask you whether you want to replace an existing dashboard or you want to publish it as a new dashboard. When you have dashboards in production where your readers might have saved the link, they have bookmarked the link of your dashboard, at that time you want to replace an existing dashboard because then they don't have to keep changing the links. And then if you now want to call it something new, the link will still remain the same, but you can just give it a new name and you can publish the dashboard. All right, so you see that all your industries are right now showing here. So only if you tie it with your navigation action will that get filtered. So when you click on finance, right here, you will see only the finance stuff. Again, if you don't want to go to summary by just clicking on summary, you can again have a nice custom visual here, and you can write go back here and then an action tied to that custom visual, the navigation action. When you click on that navigation action, you can set the target of that visual to your summary sheet, right? So we've gone through a lot of concepts here. So these can be like a good building block for you to know what is possible with QuickSight, and then you can combine all these features to get as creative as possible as needed, and then build a dashboard which suits your company's needs, your end users' needs, and we are constantly adding more features. And so please make sure to always click on the what's new page of your account. When you log in, you would see the you sometimes see the pop-ups, and our learning videos were also a part. This webinar series were also available for what's new, and you would see this QuickSight virtual workshops are back in fall. If you haven't registered for our workshop, which is starting at 12 today PST, please, you can feel free to sign up that. This will cover your data sets and data security. And then we have another one later this evening, which is from 3 to 5. It talks about the calculation fields and ML insights. And tomorrow we are having the embedding workshop, which will be, if you are interested in embedding your dashboards within applications, then this is the workshop for you. I highly recommend you attend these workshops and constantly build your knowledge on QuickSight. So this was the introductory session, and you saw that within 3 hours, it's so easy to build a good-looking dashboard, insightful dashboard, and now you can take it a step further and apply row-level security and do more calculated fields. So far, what we have done was only drag and drop your fields from your data set. But if you wanted to add more calculations on top of those fields, then you can use this workshop, and then you can finally embed your dashboard into your application, so your end users would not know that this is powered by QuickSight. Rather, it'll with the using themes and such, it can look as part of your application, and you can go from there. That brings us to the end of this workshop. Thank you for staying on.
Thank you so much, Sapna. And for everybody's feedback, we'd love to hear from you. I did share a link in the chat window. If you would like to go ahead and just spend a couple of moments on that, it does help us get better every time we do these interactive workshops. And as Sapna mentioned, we have follow-up sessions today, a real full day. In an hour or so, we'll be kicking off the data set and data security session at noon Pacific time. And then later today with calculations and machine learning at 3 p.m. Pacific. And we will be posting the recording of today's session and the materials that we went through on our YouTube channel later this week. And the sessions this afternoon as well will be similarly recorded and posted onto the YouTube channel. We do expect that there will be multiple sessions coming in the weeks ahead, so just keep your eye out on the what's new. We have sessions on embedding, sessions on the new QuickSight Q natural language query capability, and some sessions on some recent blog posts that help you build some new admin console capabilities. So lots to learn about QuickSight, and really appreciate you spending your time with us today. Hope that this was helpful, and we'll talk to you at the next session. Thanks so much.